Hey guys, hope you're doing okay. I have a runny nose. Venus would say, "Mommy, you got a runny nose." Um, so I was trying to record this video, like just record it and then extract the audio and then post it that way. Cause I didn't really feel camera ready. I didn't really want to be on the camera, but my storage is full, and I don't want to forget what I was feeling, and I wanted to follow the thought, because sometimes you receive a thought and it's a thought that is leading you somewhere, and conversations can, like, if you follow the thought, then you're going somewhere. But so the conversation is how I was gonna, like, follow the thought, talking on the recording the video. But anyway, my storage is full, and so I have to do a live video. Why not? Mm. So I'm San Chia. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, welcome to the channel. I am one of the two owners of Reiki Spot. So if you want to follow us on Instagram, that's Reiki_spot1. And then there's Reiki_spot. So there's two pages. One of them is more woo than the other one. All right. So I'm watching a podcast episode. So the name of the podcast is The Awakening Room Podcast on YouTube, and it's episode 4, right? And the guest speaker is Little Mike. And they were talking about transformation, and the conversation was progressing. Welcome. And as they were talking about all of that, it came to a point where they started to talk about the kids, the children, and how children are, constantly being conditioned or programmed by society, by parents, by and this is something that we know, even us, we were conditioned as kids without even knowing, without our parents consciously knowing as well. They were just doing their best when it comes down to raising us, things that they didn't know, so they didn't know how to, like, choose another way or do it another way. They just did the best that they could do. But when we come of age and we get a little older and we are becoming more aware, we realize that those programs and conditionings affected us in ways that were not necessarily for our highest good, And so conditioning happens, like, it could be the smallest thing. There's energetic conditioning where, like, if you're in the home with a child, and because kids can sense and feel, like, every single child can sense and feel energies. It doesn't matter, like, if it doesn't matter what the belief system of the parent is. If they don't believe in energies and stuff, it doesn't matter, because when kids incarnate, the veil is thin, and so they can sense and feel energies, and so they can sense and feel energy signatures, even those of the parents. And I feel like the longer they are there, they start to pick up on these patterns, because some of these energy signatures they play out like in the physical. Hey sis, very spontaneous life. They play out in the physical. So they start to take those patterns on, and those energetic patterns, they start to take them on as well. And so as they were talking about the kids and how they're conditioned, I started to think about my own child and how, as an aware being, um, it's still challenging sometimes to block them, or to kind of like protect them from some of these conditionings that happen, because I feel like, because we're aware, and all the aware mamas and aware dadas, mama pigs and daddy pigs, like we're trying to do our very best from an aware point, from an aware perspective. And so sometimes we can see like something that could cause like harm, in the sense of, oh, that could really be traumatic for the baby, or for the child. I might need to like wait a minute. But then sometimes it's so hard for us to control ourselves, because we have our lives, and like something as simple as yelling, like, oh my gosh, just stop, right? 'Cause, baby, I'll be yelling, okay, because we get overwhelmed and we get tired and frustrated. But then I think how we self-correct is, we acknowledge, we give ourselves grace, and we don't judge ourselves, and then we communicate with the child. We communicate with the child or children, and we're like, we explain, I'm sorry, I got a little overwhelmed today, and you talk, you communicate with the child. It doesn't matter how old they are, or how young they are, how small, how tiny, because people might say there's a language barrier, but there is no energetic barrier. So keep talking to them so they understand that, oh, mommy shouted today. But then at the end of the day, or at some point in time when she calmed down, she came to me and she explained, and she that baby, that child can feel the compassion. It's an apology. It's like, that's not okay. I'm sorry. And so all that's going on in my brain, and I'm like, we try our very best to protect them from conditioning, but I do feel like we can't protect them from every single conditioning. I feel like we sometimes it's gonna be hard to watch and to know that we can't protect them from everything, but the good thing is we're able to guide them, right? We're able to guide them, and because we're aware as well, we're able to receive guidance for ourselves on how we can guide them, because I feel like sometimes the emotions, or the fear, can like get in the way and kind of like just make everything feel foggy, right? um, so for example, I brought this little girl in this world, right? And you're looking at the world and you're like, oh, this is a world. And then there's school, and so many things. And for a very long time, I didn't know how school was gonna go. And the thing is, even though I feel like I'm making these decisions, Venus is already aware, because remember, before we come here, there's a pre-birth plan, and so she knows all the possible outcomes, and so I feel like knowing that gives comfort and kind of like grounds you and centers you into just trust the divine, that she's gonna be where Your baby is going to be where they need to be. They're going to have the experience that they are intending to have, the one that they really want to have. All you have to do is just stay here, stay present with yourself, stay grounded so that you can be of full support when they need it, right? Like with school, school can be tricky because you're trying to find like a school that is not too like all the way left. um, I can't even say all the way right because I don't think they have those. But but you do want them to have like the human experience as well. You do want them to have the human experience. You still want them to do all that stuff. So then you're kind of like sitting down like, ooh, this is like a lot of pressure. Like what do you do? Where do you go? Where do you send them? What do you expose them to? What do you make them eat? What do you make them watch? What do you make them wear? There's so much stuff in the collective. Like, mainstream media, there's so much stuff. Oh, this happening with the food, this happening with the water, this happening with the schools. And it's just, if you follow that mainstream media, it can cripple you. And it can put you like in a fearful type of energy. And again, it goes back to being here and being still and trusting that you are being guided, and trusting also that these little human beings also know what they want, and they're going to show you signs, and you have to be open to like seeing these signs and receiving them and then acting on them as well. Because I do remember the first time I sent V to the first school that she went to. um, before she went to school the first time, I had a dream. First of all, I had a dream and I saw the play area of the school. I've never been to the school before. I saw the play area of the school. And I was like, oh, it looks like a school, because I was thinking about sending her to a school. So then when we went to tour the school, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I saw in my dreams. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is me. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm sending her here. And so she ended up going to that school for a while. But then I had a dream again that there was like a misalignment. Like there was just one person there that she just didn't energetically align with. And how it played out in the dream was I think there was this lady, and she just wasn't very warm and very pleasant with Venus. And when I came to drop her off at school in the dream, I sensed that, and then I looked at her and I was like, I was like, do you know who this is? I'm like, this is Venus. I don't. So I was trying to like, I don't think you know who she is, right? And then I was like, and I don't think you know who I am. So let's get this. Let's get it right. And she kind of just stayed in that energy. And then turns out I had to pull her from that school because something just wasn't aligning. And she was telling me, and here's the where we have to pay attention. She was telling me, this is how I knew. Yes, she was crying every single day. Now we drop her off, and when we pick her up, she was crying every single day. And then that's kind of, you could say that's normal because she's used to just being around family every like 24/7, and so this is something that's new for her. So I'd be like, oh, that's normal. Just give her some time to get used to it. But then I observed that there were certain days that she went to school where there were specific people at the school, and she wouldn't cry as much. She would just cry when I drop her off, and then she'd be good. And then when I pick her up back, she'd be like, she'd be fine. And I'm like, ooh, there was just something's off, because it would be when there was a specific person was not there was the day that she wasn't crying. It doesn't mean this person was doing anything. It just means that there was an energetic misalignment. So it could be that something was happening energetically with this person that was making B very uncomfortable. Now let's go back to the front where I saw the play area, and I'm like, oh yes, this is school week, she need to go. Now, I could say, so why did I see that picture? Wasn't that like an indication that, yes, this school is aligned for her? Now, what that was that it was a path that needed to be followed. So we needed to do that, right? Yes, she needed to be introduced to the school, and all of this needed to happen. That was just me getting a glimpse or getting a signal of something that was meant to happen, and so that happened and that played out. So no, it wasn't like um, it wasn't a mistake. It wasn't that it was not supposed to happen. And so when I pulled her, I was like, oh, see, this is what I meant. But then, now we're getting ready to reintroduce her into school again, but from a different place. And I had this saying when I was a business owner. I used to say, we're starting from experience. You're starting over, but you're starting from experience. So it's the same thing with your child. If you've had a child before and you're an aware person now, you are different parents. You're starting over, but you're starting from experience. And during this experience, you're going to be learning on the way. You're going to be learning. So that's why you can't be hard on yourself. You're going to be learning along the way. The important thing is to apply what you're learning, because they say knowledge without application is, nothing. You just know stuff, but you're not really doing anything with the knowledge. So we have to apply what we learn. Sometimes you're gonna need to take a step back and take a break and breathe and kind of like detox and detach yourself from everything so that you can see and feel clarity. And when you're able to see and feel clarity, then you can able to perceive a clearer picture of what's really happening, what needs to be removed, what needs to be implemented, why is this thing happening, why is this not working. And so you're able to come up with a better plan or a different routine, one that's beneficial to you and one that's beneficial to the people around you. And see, now we're talking about kids specifically. So we as aware parents, and I'm going to keep saying aware parents because we are aware, not like in a pressure type of way, but in a way, like in an empowering way. Hi, 1 minute, I'm coming to the comments. Let me grab my thought process. Aware parents. I forgot. That's why I didn't want to look at the comments. Damn. Yeah, we just doing our best. Just do your best. When you see something and with the babies that you're not sure about, how it affects them, but you feel like this is all you can do right now, because this is how you're keeping things together, that's okay. I feel like when you get like some time to kind of like step away and like a moment to yourself or moments to yourself, where you're able to receive like some more clarity, or you're able to ground yourself a bit to ask for a new pathway or for new information to reveal itself to you, I feel like you should definitely do that. And then the universe will gift you these things, because I mean, Instagram, like when you're on Instagram, you'll just be thinking about something and all of a sudden there's stuff popping up. Right now, I don't know if we should say like, you know, there's a connection with the higher mind and the technology. I'm not gonna talk about that. I don't know nothing about that. But that's how the universe works. It just comes to you. Also, please be discerning, because not everything that comes to you is for your highest good. So again, get to know yourself, get to connect with your intuition better. And if you're not sure, put a pause on it and be like, I'm not sure, I'm coming back when it feels clearer. When the dust has settled and I can see better and there's not dust in my eye. So yeah, that's that. Um, yeah, the thought still hasn't come back, so I'm gonna just leave that right there. All right. What and what we came from and were conditioned to. Okay. What we came from and were conditioned to. Right, because we were talking about um, how much conditioning is happening the minute we come in um, into this experience. It's happening 24/7. You know, sometimes it's good conditioning. You know, it's not always bad conditioning. It'd be good conditioning too, right? Um, Trying to protect them can be a form of conditioning as well, and I feel like that's true for sure. Trying to protect these kids can be a form of conditioning as well, which is why sometimes we have to become aware of that as well, aware of the fact that we are trying to protect them, like we're, and also we can be like hindering, interfering with their experience in a way, like no, 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 no. So you're blocking them from learning. Remember that when we come here, it's about learning and growing, and one way that we learn and grow is through experience. So it could be something small, but it could be something that they wanted to experience, and that's very true. And so we are not their, what's the word, we're not their Lord and Savior, right? We are their guides, and they are this. I don't even know if we're supposed to say we are their guides, because they're very smart, but yeah, we are their guides because they're little tiny humans who have very intrusive thoughts. Okay? So sometimes we gotta be like, listen now, okay? That's enough. All right. So we're their guides. We're their human guides. Um, hey, Ebony. No, no, no. You don't have to apologize. You don't have to apologize. It's not your fault. Why? The thing, the line of thought, just like full stop. Saying us as aware parents change our routines and the way we do things. Yeah, it's about like identifying and observing, identifying and seeing like, where we can make adjustments that would be beneficial for them and for us. And then another thing is we keep upgrading those adjustments, right? Because it's not all gonna happen like in one big flip. So tiny steps. They're tiny human beings. Tiny steps. This may be a message for me because I'm really protective of my babies. So, well, I hope, girl, I think we can all say, we be a little extreme in the protection. We be a little extreme. Like, no, I'll watch her, I'll take care of her, I'll do everything because you don't know how to do it the way I do it. And it's the way that I do it is the only way that it needs to be done. Nobody else know how to do it, right? Right? Because I'll be there. I've been there where it's like, I know how to do it. You don't know what you're doing. Let me do it. Otherwise, it's not getting done the way it's supposed to be done. It's fine. I'll do it. Never mind. But, and then that also blocks you from receiving support as well, because nobody's gonna do it the way you do it, right? I mean, this is not KFC, but nobody's gonna do it the way that you do it, but they're gonna do it the way that they do it, and it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's not gonna be the way you do it, but it's still gonna be okay. It's still gonna be good. So we gotta like lighten up a little bit, and like, it's literally like, how you have the kids, like, just imagine this is your baby and you like cloaking them, right? And you're like, back up, nobody come here. But there's people out there who want to like, you know, they want to help. They want to bring stuff in for you and the baby, but you just there like a big mama bear, like nobody come in. I don't even know who you are. So filter. You gotta learn to filter, and it goes back to being here, being at the center, so you can see and perceive and know what steps you want to take, who you want to let into your space, who you want around your kid. That's why you gotta stay in alignment and attunement. That's why you gotta make sure that your energy is top tier, baby. And when it's not top tier, that's okay. What are you learning from being in a not top tier energy? There's always a lesson to be learned. There's always something to take away from it. And then don't stay there too long, because there's not much to do there. When you're done learning what you need to learn, you want to go ahead and move up. So you want to go ahead and transcend and transform that experience and transmute that energy into something else. Protecting them from people who don't have pure intentions towards them, and protecting their feelings at times. Yeah, I think that's gonna be a lifelong lesson. I'm a first time parent, y'all. Gotta see with me. I think that's a lifelong lesson for parents, protecting their feelings at times, because nobody wants to see their kids hurt. And so we're always gonna wanna try to protect their little hearts. Like, for example, I saw Venus trying to make friends like multiple times. I see her try to do it. And, I just have to watch, because I'm not supposed to like do anything. So when we go to the park, or we go somewhere, like we go to a party or something, this is how Venus attempts to make friends. First, she waves. She waves at you. She doesn't smile. So, you know, it might be like a mixed signal. Like you're waving, but you're not smiling. So she has like a very dead stare. So she do the dead stare with the wave. And then she tries to get the kids try to get their attention. Like, oh, you want to come over? You want to play? Or she walks over to them. She's like, do you want a hug? Or something. I'm like, oh my gosh, what if they don't want to hug her? Because, kids, they be like, oh, girl, I know you. Kids, everybody got their own personality. And so, like, the mama in me want to go over there and be like, hi, she just want to hug you. But it's not my place, because I'm not going to be there all the time. And so she has to learn. And so I just have to, like, stand in the back and let her figure out, what it's like making friends, how to communicate with people and stuff. And he just sit there and you just be like, yeah. Even sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. When she comes back, you're like, you okay? You made a little friend there. Oh, that's nice. Oh, she didn't hug you. Oh, that's okay. She didn't want to hug anybody today. But do you want a hug from mommy? Yeah, okay. I'm not a perfect mom either. I don't want people to think that. Like, don't do that. I don't strive to be a perfect mom. I don't strive to be a perfect anything. I always just strive to be the best version of myself, the best version that I can be in this moment at this time. And if I feel like I'm not the best version right now, I also am like, that's okay, girl. That's cool. And that's something that people need to embody as well. Like, let's demystify this whole perfection idea, because it's very heavy. They've placed like a very heavy thing on the word perfect. Maybe it could be a beautiful word, but it's very, a heavy word. So yeah, it's been 29 minutes, I think, and 17 seconds now. Thank you guys for chiming in with me, and I hope you have a beautiful day. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.